Hello and thanks for tuning into KPC News. I'm James Buckley.
And I'm Hannah Thurman.
Our top stories tonight involve French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to the U.S. and new developments in the DACA program. But first, Hannah has an update with President Trump's Veteran Affairs nominee.
President Trump said on Tuesday that he is standing behind Ronnie L. Jackson. Jackson is Trump's nominee for the Office of Veterans Affairs. The Washington Post reported that Trump has suggested that Jackson drop out after what Trump called ugly allegations against him. Jackson was scheduled to go in front of the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs Wednesday. However, Senator Johnny Isakson, who heads the panel, said that they will not be having the hearing on Wednesday, but sometime in the future. Jackson is the former White House physician and a former combat surgeon. The allegations that have surfaced are regarding a dispersal of medication, possible incidents of drunkenness while working, and other accusations. Jackson has declined to comment on the allegations, but said that he is looking forward to the hearing.
On Monday, the Washington Post reported that Secretary of State nominee Mike Pompeo officially has an endorsement from the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. With the committee's endorsement, the Post and other news outlets predict that Pompeo will have the necessary votes to be appointed as Secretary of State next week. The Foreign Relations Committee was initially hesitant to fully endorse Pompeo after Senator Rand Paul was unsure whether Pompeo would support President Trump's initiative to remove troops from Afghanistan. President Trump, however, spoke with Paul before the committee made its decision to assure that Pompeo would stick with the president's decisions in the future. This encounter ultimately led to Paul endorsing Pompeo.
On Tuesday, a federal judge ruled that the protections for DACA must stay in place. The government must continue to accept applications. The New York Times reported that Judge John D. Bates for the District of Columbia said that the decision to end DACA was on virtually unexplained grounds. The judge gave the Department of Homeland Security the opportunity to better explain the reasoning for ending it. This is the third ruling against the administration. None of those rulings have required the administration to accept new applications.
This past Tuesday marked the first day of French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to the White House. Macron has come to the United States to meet with President Trump about the U.S. potentially backing out of the Iranian nuclear agreement. The New York Times reported that President Trump has criticized the deal in recent months, citing a lack of emphasis on Iran's ballistic missile program, as well as not having provisions to monitor Iran's activity in Yemen and Syria. Macron's goal for the meeting is to convince President Trump to stay in the Iran agreement so that other countries won't back out, thereby dissolving the agreement. Macron has also stated that his meetings go beyond the Iran agreement, saying, "The Iran deal is an important issue, but we have to take a far broader picture, which is security in the overall region. What we want to do is to contain Iran and its presence in the region." Macron will be in the United States until this evening for the talks.
Kellyanne Conway said in an interview with CNN's Dana Bash that it was inappropriate and a double standard to ask her about her husband's tweets. Conway's husband has tweeted things that are critical of President Trump. When asked about her husband's Twitter account, she responded by saying, "We're now going to talk about other people's spouses and significant others just because they are either working at the White House or CNN? Are we going to do that? You just went there." Conway's husband is an attorney that Trump had considered nominating for Solicitor General.
The Arizona special election to replace former Representative Trent Franks took place on Tuesday. After multiple losses in recent special elections across the nation, Republicans finally won a race. Politico reports that the Republican candidate for Frank's seat, Debbie Lesko, won the election by only 5%. Although GOP officials were happy with the outcome, they were worried about the margin of victory. Franks' former district voted for President Trump in the 2016 election by 21 points. The officials and Politico cited the change in voting as caused by the effects of Donald Trump's presidency. Politico also speculated that should anti-Trump sentiment stay the same this year, Republicans are in for a tough road leading into the November midterms.
In another story out of Arizona, CNN reported that teachers in Arizona are scheduled to walk out on Thursday. There will also be teachers in Colorado going to the state capitol on Thursday and Friday in hopes of more funding. This walkout comes after weeks of teachers pushing for better legislation. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey is one of the main advocates for teachers to receive raises. It is estimated that 30,000 to 50,000 teachers will take part in the walkouts, causing 90 districts in the state to close. Ducey announced a proposal earlier in the month that offered a raise over the next 3 years to a 20% raise. He also proposed to increase funding by $371 phased out over the next 5 years. Educators in the state don't believe it is enough, though. Arizona educators had called for a 20% raise by the next school year. Teachers in Arizona ranked 45th in the nation for pay in 2017. Ducey said he does not understand why teachers are walking out after being offered that proposal.
According to the Los Angeles Times, President Trump's travel ban was looked at by the Supreme Court on Wednesday for a final ruling. After originating from a lawsuit by the state of Hawaii, Trump's travel ban has come under scrutiny and ruled illegal in lower courts. Neil Katyal, the attorney who has represented Hawaii, argues that presidents can only create short-term bans and not anything long-term like what Trump has ordered. Although the ruling from the Supreme Court likely won't come until June, the Times reports that the court seems to be on Trump's side. During the first round of questioning on Wednesday, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Anthony Kennedy reasoned that the president, not the judicial system, has the power to determine national security threats regarding immigration. The other conservative justices followed suit in their questioning, which would give Trump's side a 5-4 win should the justices not change their mind by the final ruling.
Politico reported that the EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt will answer questions about alleged ethical violations. White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley said that the questions will be in short order. This follows allegations of Pruitt spending on hotel rooms that were allegedly rented from a prominent lobbyist's wife. Gidley told NPR in an interview, "We know what's going on over there. We've seen the reports, and it raises questions. And the EPA, and quite frankly, Mr. Pruitt, are going to have to answer those questions in short order." That's all we have for you this week. I'm Hannah Thurman.
And I'm James Buckley.
Tune in next week to see the newscast and the podcast. Thanks. Have a good one.